So I can't establish myself. Could I have 15 minutes? That's where he said, listen, Hen, when you can pull in the crowds the way the Alexander brothers can, I'll give you 15 minutes. Cheeky.
Ross was our manager for 34 years. He was a great mentor, you know. He was quite superb, and nobody could sell LPs like Ross Bowie.
Now a well-established act in theatres across Scotland, it was time to spread their sound even further.
One day I got a call from my managing director, Louis Benjamin. He said, come into the office, I want you to meet Ross Bowie. I met Ross Bowie. He was the agent for a couple of lads who were doing well in Scotland called the Alexander Brothers. And Louis says, we need them for our catalogue. We need them for our labels around the world. They're doing well already, they're great. We're not going to pay them very much because we don't pay very much anyway, but we're giving them the grand opportunity. And so we signed the Alexander Brothers.
I mean, don't forget, he was writing things like Downtown and things like that, and then suddenly you hear the Muck and the George's Buyer. It was a culture shock for Tony.
The northern lights of old Aberdeen, sweet home to me.
The very first album, Hide and Fleet, I really let them choose everything that was going to go on the album, and even the running order and everything about that whole album was a reflection of their popularity in the theatre.
If anyone were to say which song you think they'd be remembered for, from the singing point of view, I think Nobody's Child. You couldn't beat it.
We had Nobody's Child at this Kerry, and Jack liked it, and we decided to put it in one of our performances in Perth. And the audience reaction was just, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic.
As I was slowly passing an orphan's home one day, I stopped there for a moment just to watch the children play.
As soon as they started Nobody's Child, the applause was there before they performed it, you know.
And of course the record did take off in a big, big way.
When I heard it, I mean, I just wanted to burst into tears.
I know they'd like to take me, but when they see I'm blind, they always take some other child, and I'm left behind. I know God's child.
It did outsell the Beatles in Scotland. The lyrics of the song and the tune, and they just paint a picture that's indelible, isn't it? Once they started singing about the orphan kid, you really can't get him out of your mind, can you?
I know nobody's child.
This is the Woodside Library, and next door to that block of flats, that was the new Metropole. And I remember, this is George's Road. I remember when we were in the winter show there, buses were lined up right up to both sides. Incredible. And this is where we were when These Are the Mountains LP into the British charts, albeit it's number 29.
For me are my mountain, and then my glen, the brave of my childhood will know me then. No land ever claimed me, no far I will go. For me are my
Success followed success for the boys, and there was no shortage of demand for new material and recordings. One album in particular captured the atmosphere of a live performance.
Tom and Jack said, get hold of the London Scottish Club. They're mainly our fans, and you know there'll be about 100 of them there. And so we got these guys in, and we laid out a special area for them. And the only thing Tom and Jack said was, you must get whiskey and beer in. You don't have to pay them anything. Obviously, you wouldn't pay them anything, but you must entertain them, and they will be fantastic. And so we got the whiskey and the beer out, and we recorded side one.
I love a lassie, a bonny, bonny lassie. She's as true as Mary in the bell.
And I listened to it, and it sounded good. And then we recorded side two. Well, by then, you see, we'd had more whiskey and beer. And by the end of side two, I said, I think we're going to have to record side one again. Because, you know, the atmosphere is now so sensational, it's so happy, so buoyant. And of course, at the end of that, I said, look, you know, it's so fantastic now. This is better than side two. Let's do side two again. And so we recorded the whole album twice in about 4 hours. It was amazing.
Come on, Tony, come on, give us one. Come on, give me a hand.
I know 2 Scottish lads, and girls you must be wary, for one is tall and handsome too, and the other's short and hairy.
The theatre shows get bigger and more prestigious. In 1965, they appeared alongside Shirley Bassey at a Royal Variety performance at the London Palladium.
There was a soldier, a Scottish soldier.
They were always invited out to big dues and things because they looked good, and they were gentlemen, they were very presentable. They were approached by this sort of dowager, very posh kind of thing, and this woman, she said, what did you do before you came into this to show business, you look like? Jack said, oh, as a matter of fact, he says, we were painters. You know? Oh, really? And she said, what was your medium? Jack said, what did you paint in? This is mostly emulsion and kind of, you know, gloss for the woodwork. Oh yes, at that time she was halfway down the road.
The soldier, the Scottish soldier, who wandered far away, the soldier far away.
The boys were on the march. By now, 8 albums, a top-selling single, and an album in the UK charts. Next stop, the TV studios.
Francis Essex was the boss at Scottish Television, and he always liked what he saw of Jack and I.
Now well established as stars of theatre and the small screen, they attracted the attention of Scotland's showbiz elite, and a transatlantic tour beckoned.
Andy Stewart had phoned about a tour abroad. The boys, I think, were in the theatre at the time in Glasgow, and he said, I'm going to ask the Alexanders as well, which really, normally it would have been Andy Stewart and then supporting cast, but because it was the first show, it was like 2 tops of the bill. Andy Stewart, who's a huge star at the time, over there as well as here, and the boys were special guests, basically.
Well, Andy had bought the tour by that time, and decided to take Jack and I over to tour Canada and the States. And we did very well over there. When we went abroad, especially Canada and America, you had people who just between the war, the end of the war, and the early 50s, had emigrated. The Alexander brothers epitomised what they missed. They saw the kilt, they heard the come in, it's nice, and they go, oh!
Oh, Scotch mother mine, you are with me all the while.
Jack Alexander said to me, just think Frank Sinatra walked the stage. I said, yes, little did he know it was going to be the Alexander brothers.
Touring North America was new territory for the Lanarkshire boys, and US border control took a bit of getting used to.
Well, as it so happens, this part of the tour in Canada used to finish in Windsor, Ontario, and there's a big tunnel there that goes through to Detroit in the States.
They were going through customs, the immigration part of it.
The customs guy stopped them and said,
What's in there? What's that?
and Tom said, well, it's my box, Pa.
And now these guys in American Border Control are very abrupt, cheeky and everything.